Xtalks connects professionals in the life science, medical device, and food industries with useful content like webinars, job openings, articles, and virtual meetings to help you succeed in your career. This food industry-focused podcast brings together some of our editorial staff to share insights into the latest B2B industry news to help keep you up to date. This week on the show, we're discussing AI in the food industry. Is ChatGPT the next big trend? And Hershey launches plant-based peanut butter cups and chocolate bars. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Xtalks Food Podcast. I'm Sydney Perlmutter, Senior Food Industry Journalist and Webinar Moderator at Xtalks.com, and this week I'm joined by Vera Kovacevic and Sarah Hand. Thanks for coming today. So I'm going to start us off with some big news from Hershey. We know Hershey as the maker of Reese's, Hershey Bar, Kisses, and other chocolates and candies, and it announced two new plant-based products earlier this week, which are the Reese's plant-based peanut butter cups and Hershey plant-based extra creamy with almonds and sea salt. And that second one is a chocolate bar. Now, the new vegan sweets are both made with oat milk instead of cow's milk and are designed to taste like milk chocolate. So in a company press release, Teal Liu, the brand manager of Better For You at the Hershey Company, said, "We're excited to introduce these delicious plant-based options. Our purpose is to create more moments of goodness for consumers. Those moments are now more accessible for chocolate lovers looking for plant-based alternatives." So the Reese's plant-based peanut butter cups will be available nationally this month, while the Hershey bars will be hitting the shelves in April. And although Hershey has not released all the nutritional information for the new products, a pack of two plant-based peanut butter cups has the same number of calories, 210 to be exact, as the regular two-pack of Reese's peanut butter cups. So if you were thinking that the plant-based ones would be healthier in terms of calories, you would be wrong. The plant-based peanut butter cups and Hershey bars will be the first vegan chocolates that the company has sold across the U.S. But this isn't the first time that Hershey has experimented with plant-based chocolate in the past. This isn't the first time Hershey has experimented with plant-based chocolate, though. It sold an oat-based chocolate bar called Oatmade in some test markets in 2021, but those products were never distributed beyond those test markets. Now, Hershey said it developed the new plant-based peanut butter cups and Hershey bars, which are actually some of its most popular products, because there's a lack of mainstream plant-based chocolates in the U.S. The company added that consumers want choice and are looking for products that they consider healthier or with fewer ingredients, including reduced sugar and plant-based option. Now, Hershey, alongside a number of chocolate producers like Nestlé and Cadbury, have been expanding their ranges of products to keep up with the growing demand for dairy-free chocolate. So in 2021, Nestlé introduced the Kit Kat V, which is a vegan version of the chocolate bar, and Mondelez acquired Who, which is a vegan chocolate company, that same year. And whether consumers are looking to reduce consumption of animal-based products for health or environmental reasons, the plant-based chocolate market has reached staggering heights in recent years. According to Future Market Insights, the vegan chocolate market was valued at $1 billion in 2022 and is projected to reach $4 billion by 2032 at a compound annual growth rate of 15.5%. And of course, any market of this size is bound to be competitive, with the key players including Hershey, Mondelez, Lindt, Ritter Sport, Nestlé, and Cadbury accounting for a large share of the market. And these brands have captured the market through joint ventures, partnerships, and mergers and acquisitions, while also keeping up with research and development internally to launch new and innovative products. And while Hershey has not specified whether the vegan products will cost more than the regular chocolates, the plant-based ones will most likely cost more. Currently, actually, I looked this up because I was curious. Rite Aid lists a package of two Reese's plant-based peanut butter cups at $2.49, which is about $1 more than consumers would pay for a regular package. And Hershey also charges a similar premium for organic versions of its Reese's cups, which went on sale in 2021. So I was telling the team earlier when I was writing about this, like, I swore I had written about this before, but I was misremembering and referring to the organic Reese's peanut butter cups. But it seems like a long time coming, for a big chocolate brand like Hershey to finally release plant-based versions, either new products or, of one of its most popular products, like the Reese's peanut butter cup. So do you guys think this is a little overdue? It's a long time coming. And do you think that that price premium is expected and that people will actually pay a little bit more for the plant-based version?
Yeah, I think that the price premium is definitely to be expected. And in fact, I sort of think, from my perspective, that having a higher price tag attached to these, plant-based or organic products, kind of like solidifies their place in the market as these must be superior, to things that are, the regular version, let's say, whether or not they actually, are, and what measure you're using to call something better. But I almost think you need to have that price tag that's higher than the regular product. Like, you wouldn't really expect to pay less for organic produce or organic milk, you expect to pay a premium for that. And so I think you almost weirdly need that. In terms of your question about whether or not it's overdue, I think they're right in saying that there, are very few mainstream options for this. But I'm wondering if, the target consumer already has their preferred, smaller brand that they go to. However, I can definitely see people who maybe, recently switched to a plant-based diet, but really miss some of these treats, like really miss eating Reese's peanut butter cups. I can see them picking this up and saying, oh, good, there's an option for me now that I'm not eating dairy anymore or whatever. So, yeah, I think it makes sense for them to add it to their line.
Yeah, you know what I was researching? I was actually curious, how does the price of oat milk compare with cow milk, right? Because one of the main changes, if not basically the only change, was using oat milk instead of cow milk, right? And I came across an article on Toronto Star, which is like a Canadian newspaper, I know. But they said that last summer, according to the Toronto Star, dairy milk now costs the same as non-dairy alternatives like soy, almond, and oat milk. And they've even asked companies like Starbucks, what's your justification now for, charging 80 cents more to make a latte with oat milk instead of cow milk, right? And they're just like, oh yes, we are always evaluating market prices and, charging a fair price. But I wonder if in the US in general, if cow milk is the same as oat milk, what's the justification for the $1 higher price of a vegan chocolate bar made with oat milk?
I wonder if you're also paying for the sort of innovation, because I think in a product like this, it's not a one-to-one, like they just switch out the cow's milk for oat milk. I think there's a lot that goes into reformulating to make sure that it retains a lot of the same sort of textural and taste qualities while using the new ingredient. That's what I would think. I think it wouldn't be super easy, but I hear you. I mean, maybe if the ingredient itself, like the milk, has gone that way in terms of price, maybe in the future, as these things become more mainstream and expected, maybe we'll see pricing parity on regular, original Reese's peanut butter cups and these plant-based versions.
Yeah, even the marketing of a new product, I expect, would add to the whole cost of it, right?
Mm-hmm. I also think that, they came out with, or they launched their new plant-based chocolate bar at the same time. And I think that will be much more understated. I think Reese's is definitely the star of this launch for sure. And I wonder how popular this new plant-based bar is actually going to be, and whether they'll use, the sales of these two products to potentially come out with more in the future if they're gaining success. Mm-hmm. And I also, I also wonder if they probably would have mentioned this, so it's probably staying the same, but if any of the ingredients in the peanut butter changed. I can't imagine so. I feel like it is just peanut and maybe like icing sugar or something. But to me, the big part of the Reese's is the peanut butter. So I wonder if they've, maintained the same peanut butter recipe or if that's changed as well. It has probably stayed the same, but I totally agree. The marketing is probably a big part of it, and it did just launch. So I wonder if as the years go by, if this product is still on the shelves, if that price will go down a little bit. But Veer, that's a good point about oat milk. I didn't really know that it wasn't, in fact, or at least in Canada, when you said was, the same price as cow's milk. That was a little surprising to me. And I think a lot of consumers maybe don't know that because they'll just purchase one or the other, and they just get used to the price of what they're paying for. So yeah, maybe I should have a little chat with Starbucks and see what's going on there. All right, moving on to our next story. So artificial intelligence, which I'll just continue to call AI in the future, has transformed the food industry by automating tasks and making them a lot more efficient. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not say that the human touch will always remain important in all aspects of the industry. Automation has certainly enhanced the production process by reducing some of that human error. Automation has also decreased costs for consumers and companies, reduced food waste, and improved the safety of food products. Now, AI in the food industry is rapidly changing the way that food manufacturers, restaurants, and other businesses operate. And with the latest explosion of ChatGPT, which is an AI chatbot that is trained to follow an instruction in a prompt and provide a detailed response, we can expect AI to continue transforming significant portions of the food industry. So before looking at the latest uses of ChatGPT, I just wanted to talk about some of the ways that AI has changed the food industry in the past decade. So the first one is AI-generated recipes and product development. So one of the most significant milestones for AI in the industry was the application of IBM Watson's AI for recipe creation and product development. So after beating human contestants on Jeopardy, Watson would go on to create its own cookbook and eventually partner with brands like McCormick for flavor and food product development, which is pretty neat. Secondly, are food robots. So over the past decade, we've seen a proliferation of AI-assisted food robots all across the food supply chain, from food delivery robots and automated dishwashers to kitchen robots that automate almost all components of standard fast food meals. We've only just scratched the surface of what generative AI can do for all aspects of the food industry. Third, AI phone answering and ordering systems. So the wing chain Wingstop, for example, is using AI to create a virtual ordering assistant which can answer multiple calls at the same time. And chains like Checkers, Del Taco, Domino's, and Panera are using similar technology. With automated phone answering and ordering systems in restaurants, AI uses machine learning to become wiser over time. And after that, it can spot patterns and trends and base its decisions going forward on that knowledge. Fourth, novel food discovery and creation. So in recent years, food and beverage startups have started using AI to accelerate discovery of novel food ingredients and plant-based recipes. So for example, Notco, which is a food company that produces plant-based alternatives to animal-based food products, based its entire roadmap around AI-generated recipes for its plant-forward lineup. And lastly, computer vision. So a good example of this is in Amazon's Go stores, which feature Just Walk Out technology powered by sensors and computer vision that allow shoppers to pick products off the shelves and walk out without going through checkout. And after it launched, a series of retail startups powered by computer vision with no employees on site emerged to offer grocery and convenience store operators platforms to create more frictionless shopping. So now we'll get into the next generation of AI, so ChatGPT. So since it launched only in December 2022, a couple months ago, more than 100 million people have given ChatGPT a try, and I am one of them. At first glance, the chatbot may not seem like it would have mainstream applications for the food industry, but a series of food businesses across the spectrum have started to incorporate its technology into everyday operations. So for starters, 67% of grocers say they've had senior level meetings in which ChatGPT was discussed, and 82% of them believe that chatbots like ChatGPT will also improve customer service, followed by site search and product recommendations at 73%. And another 71% believe AI will be used as a tool for store associates. And while grocery stores are just beginning to talk about ChatGPT, some companies are already using it. For example, Unilever, which is the maker of Ben & Jerry's, Hellmann's, among other consumer packaged goods, recently developed Alex, which is powered by ChatGPT. Short for Alexander the Great, Alex filters emails in Unilever's Consumer Engagement Center, sorts spam messages, and recommends responses to the company's human agents. Another ChatGPT-powered Unilever tool, Homer, leverages the AI bot to generate content. So by taking a few details about a product, it generates an Amazon product listing with both short and long descriptions that match the brand's tone. A further ChatGPT tool supports the Hellmann's mayonnaise brand with the purpose of reducing food waste. Meanwhile, TasteWise, which is an AI-powered market intelligence platform designed for the food and beverage industry, recently announced the launch of TasteGPT. So this AI chatbot allows teams across the food and beverage This AI chatbot allows teams across food and beverage companies to access insights, making decisions and innovation faster than ever. TasteGPT can be used to find trending flavors, explore untapped opportunities, and export ready-to-ship reports using conversational AI. And even small local food businesses have tapped into ChatGPT. So this is my favorite. A brewing company in northern Alberta, Canada, called Grain Bin Brewing Company, asked ChatGPT to decide the name, price, packaging, and recipe for a new beer with the hope that the beer will become a conversation piece. And of course, it remains to be seen whether this beer and other ChatGPT-generated products will be commercially successful, but it is clear that ChatGPT and AI in the food industry is increasingly being used to create unique products and enhance the customer experience. So while I was writing this, I was getting a little fearful for my job, as a journalist, and wondering, will my job and other jobs like mine ever be, threatened by tools like ChatGPT, and just how far AI has come in recent years. However, I think all the examples that I listed of, AI in the food industry seem to actually help existing employees, and hopefully would never, put anyone's job at risk. I think it gets rid of a lot of those menial tasks that people don't really love to do. But yeah, I want to get your thoughts on ChatGPT. Have any of you ever used it before? And can you see, it becoming more popular for marketing efforts and even product development, like I mentioned, in the future? Or do you think it's just kind of a fad that will go away?
Yeah, I don't think it's a fad. I think it's something here to stay. Ultimately, I do think that humans are very creative, and that cannot be replaced by AI. That's just my opinion. I agree. Ability of a human to think of something, whether that's a new recipe or, new marketing for a food product, I just don't think that can be matched by AI ever. But at the same time, I do think that, I think it's here to help current employees, not to replace them. I guess I would hope that's the goal. I know in the life sciences industry, I'll give you one example, when pathology was becoming digitized, right? A lot of pathologists were almost against the transition because, and when the images were becoming digitized, then they can be assessed by AI. So that was a threat to many people's livelihoods, right? But now it's being used to help the pathologists, not replace them, right? And I think that's what's going to happen in the food industry too.
Yeah, it seems like it's very much focused on, at least for now, increasing throughput in some examples. I think it was Unilever using it to help route different customer communications kind of to the right people, and maybe suggest responses. I think that's pretty helpful. I think this will be a threat to some people's jobs. I think it's hard to kind of get around that, but we've definitely seen that in so many other industries and like positions, I don't think that's an avoidable thing. I would just hope that, you know, the people that are being replaced by something like this are able to be retrained, you know, for something else, and are not just kind of like left in the cold there. And I think that so in the case again with Unilever using their tool Homer to generate content like Amazon product listings, I think that's really smart, because like that sort of thing, you know, you don't need someone who's able to write really amazingly. You just need someone who's able, or something in the case of this AI, something that's able to explain, you know, what this product listing is for in an SEO compliant manner, you know, to get those listings on Google and make sure they're found and increase sales and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely think that it's a great use of the tool there. I think for the grain bin brewing company example you gave, Sydney, that's super interesting, and I think will definitely be a conversation piece. The fact that they're like, hey, look at this new beer that was essentially, you know, created by artificial intelligence. I think that's really interesting. I think one thing that a negative I can see to that is if you were to build your whole brand around using AI, I think it might suck some of the creativity out of some of these more, you know, creative pursuits. So I think of something like microbreweries, you know, it's people who are really passionate about brewing interesting beers, you know, and flavors that maybe they would go for. And I think if you're completely tied up in needing an AI to tell you, you know, what's a trending flavor right now that we should be making a beer for, you know, I think it becomes like almost too automated. So I'm sure, I'm not saying that they're going to use this exclusively, obviously. I just think I can see businesses kind of jumping on this and then having it take some of the, I don't know, special sauce out of the small business process and mindset.
I completely agree. I think, yeah, like you said, Vera, human creativity is like near irreplaceable. And the thing, and I agree also, Sarah, like it being used to generate like Amazon listings is such a good use, because it has the ability to filter through like millions, even billions of listings and select exactly what would be appropriate for, you know, one specific product, whereas it might take a human a long time to do that, and it's not a really creative task either. So someone may not enjoy doing that. So I think that is a great use of a tool like this. And the thing about like selecting, you know, all the aspects of a beer from an AI chatbot is like, you're totally right. It doesn't necessarily feel like special, even though it might be new, entirely new. It still doesn't really feel special because there's no human story behind it, and like we still connect to each other, you know, human to human, despite the proliferation of social media and AI and whatever else. I think we still like a human story, you know. And funny enough, like the cartoon South Park, since they're always doing episodes on like recent trends, they actually did an episode about ChatGPT, and it made a really good point about how like, yeah, it can generate a response or something like that you're looking for, but it's not like, it's so uninspired, right? It might be like the right answer or a good answer, but it really still lacks that like, that human touch. And I think like that will always be an important part of every industry, not just the food and beverage industry, but every industry, hopefully. So I agree, it may threaten some jobs. I really hope it doesn't, or at least those jobs can, be sort of redirected, or people can be retrained for different things. But ultimately I think the moral of the story is that the hope, or at least we hope, it's used to help existing you know, employees and workers rather than hurt them and take their jobs away. All right, well, that brings us to the end of this episode of the Xtalks Food Podcast. If you like today's show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Thanks everyone, and see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Xtalks Food Industry Podcast. If you enjoyed our discussions today, please share the episode with your friends and colleagues, and be sure to subscribe in order to be notified when a new episode is released. To join in on the discussion, you can find Xtalks on social media, email podcast@xtalks.com, or comment on the articles directly. Links are in the show description. Take a moment to join our community at xtalks.com to get access to everything we have to offer, including webinars, job listings, virtual meetings, articles, and more. The views and opinions expressed in the podcast are those of the speakers sharing them. They should not be taken as professional advice and do not necessarily reflect the policy or position Honeycomb Worldwide. For further information, email us at podcast@xtalks.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.